Hi, I'm Jayne, and I'm talking about codependency today. I want to draw you a little diagram because I think this is really going to help all of the pieces fall into place. You probably learned so much about codependency, and it's time to say goodbye to codependency now. But before we can do that, it's understanding why we're here, why we have codependent behaviors, and what comes next when we let go of that. If you think about our mind is very strong, and in our culture, this is what we all do. We go into our head, we have a feeling represented by these beautiful little stars. The feeling gets activated, and our mind, because we haven't been taught to actually feel our feelings and process them, our mind takes up the slack, and our mind goes, what am I going to do with this feeling that feels really uncomfortable? And so our mind looks outside of ourselves to fix the feeling, to blame somebody, to judge, to do whatever it can possibly do to get rid of that feeling so we can return to feeling okay. What happens then, that creates codependent behavior. Whenever my mind is doing my feelings, I'm creating a codependent behavior because my mind is not meant to feel. It's a thinking tool, not a feeling tool. Feeling is the job of my heart. So if I want to step out of codependency, I have to start awakening my heart, sitting in my heart, feeling my feelings. And that also means that there's less feelings that are stored in my body. You can see here all these little stars. Every time I go to my mind to fix a feeling, I'm actually storing emotion because I'm not able to process the emotion. And the more stored emotion I have, the more anxious I get, the more unease I have in my life, the worse my relationships are, the more reactive I am. So you can understand why our world is in the state it currently is, because we actually haven't been taught how, most of us haven't been taught how to process our feelings. And like most people, I was the same. I used my mind to try and work things out, to analyze what to do with these feelings that I was trying to get rid of. And all that does is create more codependent behaviors and stored emotion. So our evolution of our emotional world, which is also the evolution of love, believe it or not, because when we're doing our feelings with our mind, the way we love is conditional. It depends on the other person showing up how we want them to be. Otherwise, we withdraw the love. And we're not always consciously doing that. But people have to be or do or say certain things that make us feel okay in order for us to keep our heart open and stay loving towards them. So it's a conditional form of love, aka codependency. So the more my heart feels my feelings, the more I'm able to sit with my feelings and allowing and accepting what's happening in this moment to be as it is and not be reactive, then the more I process the emotion in here, the more love I feel in my body, the more open my heart is, the more my mind starts to come to more ease, the less conditioned thoughts I have, the less conditioning that I'm operating by, and also the less codependency. I start to realize that the more I feel my feelings and I can allow my heart to guide my life, I start to feel my own divinity. And I start to realize that I actually have a lot of power to use what's happening to me to transform it into wisdom and to co-create in my life with myself firstly, and then I start to co-create with life. And then the more able I am to do that, I start to co-create with other people. So I start to move into this emerging process of life away from the repetitive pattern, because remember, if I have a feeling and my mind deals with it, the feeling never gets felt. So I just recycle. I just recycle, rinse and repeat, recycle, because the feelings never, ever, ever get processed. I never move through them into the next moment, the emerging moment. I get stuck in that cycle, and that's one of the features of codependency. So the more I feel my feelings, the less my mind guides my life. I can actually come into a fusion state where my mind actually becomes quite spacious and my heart starts to lead my life. My heart guides and leads the way, and I feel life as it unfolds, and I move into my whole state of empowerment from that place. It's not that I don't have challenges, but it's that every challenge I transform into more wisdom and inner empowerment so that I'm emerging into an even greater potential of myself in every moment. That's what we want to go to. We need to learn new words. We need to think differently, to behave differently, so that we can actually come into this state of being that facilitates co-creative relationships. So I hope that little diagram has put everything into the picture for you and really inspires you to start doing your inner work so that you can come into this place of wholeness. Sending you love.